All right. Good evening, everyone. It's 10 minutes past 6, and we are live on Safeoclock Health and Safety Interactive Workshop. Today is 21st of December, 2023. So I'm so glad to welcome all of us. You are all welcome to today's interactive workshop. We are glad that you had a nice day and you are able to join us today. So for those of us that are joining us for the first time, Safeoclock is a platform that we created for ourselves, for like-minded health and safety professionals, where we gather virtually every week Thursday by 6 p.m. Qatar time to discuss a specified or a chosen topic, health and safety related or environmental, or in any selected topic that we choose to discuss for the week. So that is what we'll do here. And we'll call it an interactive workshop because nobody knows it all, and it's not a place where one person discusses or where one person teaches. So we bring up a topic, we discuss it, digest it, learn from each other, and encourage each other in the field. So that is what we do here. And today, in the same manner, today we've chosen to discuss effective health and safety communication. So that is what we are discussing today. After my brief presentation, and others that have presentation, they will share their screen also to present. So after that, we start interactions. We'll give room for each person to tell us practically how they implement health and safety communication in their workplace. So from those experiences, we learn and we ask questions where required, and we answer the questions in a way that we can. So that is what we are doing today, as usual. And let me open up with the discussion. So first, my question will go to strategies for effective health and safety communication. We all know that communication is a critical component in health and safety. For you to communicate effectively, if you're able to communicate effectively, it means you can be able to control or take charge of the workplace. If the communication is not effective, then whatever control or whatever strategy you have in place might not be effective, because it needs to be communicated, and everyone needs to understand the reason behind whatever action you feel like taking. So effective communication is a critical component in workplace health and safety. And when people do not communicate effectively, or when people do not implement good communication, it leads to misunderstanding. And when misunderstanding happens, you are sure of either violence, you are sure of things going the negative direction. And this is not what we expect or what we want as health and safety professionals. So that is why we are going to discuss the strategies that we should implement to ensure that we achieve an effective health and safety communication in the workplace. So I've listed few strategies, and I believe in the course of our discussion today, I'm going to hear more from others. So the first one is there should be a communication plan. Whatever is not planned is difficult to implement it effectively. In some of my previous projects, I see safety officers or safety professionals coming to deliver toolbox stock without having a clear plan on ground. You might know everything off head. You might have every idea that you want to discuss. But what if in the process of that communication, you miss a point or you miss a very valid point and you end that meeting or that toolbox stock without passing that particular information? So that is where planning comes in. You should create an effective communication plan. This plan will help you to achieve your goal so that you will know exactly if you are able to meet your target, if you are able to achieve what you want to achieve. For example, if you have a particular topic you want to discuss in a toolbox talk or in your safety meeting, you should be able to list points down. You should sit down and write things that you want to discuss down. Don't always depend on your what is coming out of your head, because something can happen. You can't get distracted. And when you get distracted, you can miss point, which will indirectly affect your communication. Now, another tip or another strategy that we can employ is use of multiple channels. An information communicated verbally can be easily forgotten. An information communicated through posters can get defaced, or maybe it can get worn out. But if you multiply these communication channels, you communicate verbally, you communicate by email, you communicate through toolbox talk, you communicate in the meeting, you communicate by writing, by posters and videos. The same topic, the same point, you make it a point of duty to ensure that you have employed various multiple channels of communication. This will help you in such a way that if the person was not able to grab it through the verbal communication, he can grab it through the video, or he can grab it through the posters, illustrations, or he can then grab it through email. When he read it, maybe he did not understand your intonations during the verbal communication, but when he reads it on the journal or on the email, it becomes very clear. So we should start employing multiple channels of communication. Don't stop at "I've told him." Some safety officers make this mistake severally. "I've told the supervisor to do this. I've told the site engineer to do this." One channel of communication should not be considered enough. We should re-strategize, employ different various channels of communication for the same topic or for the same issue. This will help to create multiple options for you. This will help to ensure that if the communication is missed through by one channel, the other channel will serve the purpose. So let us, if we try this method, then invariably we are going to have a befitting or an effective communication. Now, the other strategy that I listed out is you have to make your communication engaging. Communication should not be a one-way communication. Just like we made this our workshop, an interactive workshop, we didn't make it in such a way that one person will come in one day and he talk from beginning to the end, and everybody listens and goes home without contributing or without having time to contribute. So make your communication interactive in nature, make it engaging. Let people contribute, give time for questions, give time for comments, give time for feedbacks. Let there be a time to wind out, time for brief discussions. Give some time out of the topic of the discussion Create some sense of humor. Tell stories. Let people know that this particular topic you are discussing now, when not properly understood, so and so happen at different sites. At so sites, the people did not use the fall protection equipment appropriately. Then somebody fell down and there was an injury. So tell some stories that will captivate the mind of your audience. So don't let your discussion or your communication be boring or one-sided. Let it be interactive. This will actually help you to drive home your point. Now, the next point or the next strategy I listed out is tailor your message. You should understand your audience, know their level of understanding, know the level of communication that you should employ. For instance, if the topic is meant for the lower employees, you should know the type of communication channel that you are going to employ. For example, especially if you are having communication or language barriers, you should employ other channels that will help you communicate. Don't rely only on written letters. You can bring up pictures. You can bring up slides. You can bring up demonstrations. You can even decide to make it entirely practical demonstrations. Just tailor your message to your audience so that you don't use the wrong approach for the wrong audience. So understanding your audience, knowing their language, selecting a befitting interpreter if you don't speak the first language of your audience. This will help you to ensure that whatever you are saying is going directly to your audience and they are not misunderstanding your concept. Now, another strategy that I've listed out is take feedback. Because human beings would think most times that we are doing better. Most times we might believe that whatever we are doing, we are getting it very well. But when we get feedback, it will help us to understand at what extent are we getting what we are doing properly. At what extent have we made mistakes? Somebody should be there to review what you have done. Somebody should be there to give you feedback. So encourage feedback. Just completing your training or your toolbox talk and walking away without creating time for feedbacks will not be healthy, because you require this feedback to improve. You require this feedback to make amendments, and you require this feedback also to know the level of a communication you have imparted, to know if the topic was actually assimilated, to understand if people understood what you have taught or not. So encourage feedback. Don't just finish your training and you leave. The next tip or the next strategy is lead by example. There's a saying that says that action speaks louder than voice. If you're a health and safety professional in your workplace and you are not following the safety rules, you are not leading by example, you are not showing them how it's supposed to be done, but you just talk, and you think you can give an effective communication. People want to follow your action better than they want to follow your words. So lead by example, show some actions, show some encouragement where people need to be encouraged. Then the next strategy is provide trainings, training and retraining. Training, do not stop retraining. Don't think that you have trained them before or you have discussed this topic before, no need to say it again. So you have to continue training, continue retraining, and ensure that the topic has been driven home very well. Now, the next point is recognize achievements. When people improve, you have to show some recognition, even if it's just verbal encouragement. If a new employee came to the site and you have conducted some trainings, or maybe you have given him some briefings, some toolbox talks, and you experience or you observe that there is an improvement in his conduct, in his the way he interacts and the way he does his work is improving, you have to encourage him. You have to recognize the steps that he has taken so far. This is a communication channel. This will help to reinforce the importance of health and safety. When you encourage people, no matter the little recognition you show, they will know that they are getting it right. Then they will be able to do better. So these are some of the strategies that I've penned down that can help us achieve effective communication of health and safety in the workplaces. I know that others, you have other things to contribute or share. So I'll stop sharing my screen now and open up for others to share as well.
Good evening, all.
Good evening, Stephen.
Yeah, sorry, I've been having a lot of this discussion. In fact, they don't even want me to leave. They say as a parent, I'm supposed to be there. So anyway, I'm here at least for the meantime. Let me see what I can be able to do because I'm just inside the car now. I'm just trying to see if you can give me access to share my screen. Maybe let me just
Go
project one
ahead.
or two.
You
Yeah.
have access.
Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay. I believe it's
Okay, yeah, it's coming.
coming out. Okay. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. It's a great privilege to be here with us today, at least to share one or two information regarding health and safety communication. I believe Mr. Johnson might have said a lot, which might be, though, sorry for coming late. I have some other stuff clashing with this time. So, but in any which way, Mr. Johnson might have mentioned one or two things along the line. So I will just try to move very fast. Basically, an effective health and safety communication, an essential tool for a safe and healthier workplace. Because as a safety professional, it is very important that when you look at communication, it's like it is stated here, it's an essential tool in order to have a safe and healthier workplace. So without effective or good health and safety communication, there is nothing that can be right home about the safety culture of any organization. So it is very imperative that such part of health and safety is uh, probably implemented, in our respective site. Okay, so this presentation will just try to look at the importance of effective health and safety communication, some example of what to be communicated, with respect to health and safety in the workplace. You just look at some basic methods and channels of which health and safety can be communicated within the workplace. We also look at the barriers of effective health and safety communication, look at the strategies of improving health and safety communication, because I could see in one of Mr. Johnson's slide, he made mention of things like that. And also we try to look at how we can engage an employee in health and safety communication, the role of technology in health and safety communication, because we cannot rule out that because we are at the age of Internet of Things. We are at the age of where technology is taking over a lot of things. Here we're talking about at present, you're talking about artificial intelligence, you're talking about robotics and all that. So it's very important we see how these areas can be key into our communication aspect of health and safety. And also, you could see the what's it called, measurement of effective health and safety communication as well. So what we'll do is you look at the next slide. Um, the next slide here talks about uh, the importance of effective health and safety communication. So, why is it important as an health and safety professional? We should be able to understand this fact, because the moment we understand this fact, the better it is for us as a professional. Because now, when you look at the aspect of in terms of improved productivity, because when you have an effective health and safety communication, the feedback there will be a kind of the feedback tends to enhance an effective or efficient safety information within the workplace. So it is very, very important. And also one important aspect of effective health and safety communication also is that it promotes teamwork, because when there's a good communication, it fosters what we call collaboration. And if we look at the world of health and safety, not just health and safety, when we look at the world of businesses and everything that happens around the world today, even when you talk about climate change, we're talking about collaboration. So it's a very powerful word that it connects a lot of people together to make things work. So it's foster collaboration and cooperation among team members, and also it enhances employee engagement, okay, in the sense that there will be a kind of open and transparent communication, which can lead to higher employee engagement. Because when a communication is adequately or effective, you see that all employees will be engaged. It will not be a one-sided thing, so it is very important in that area. And also it facilitates problem solving, because when you have an effective means of communication, when there is an issue of maybe conflict or challenges that are happening within the site, such problem can be easily solved or resolved, because a culture of bad communication, you see that a lot of issues of conflict might arise, and there might not be a possible means of really solving such issue. And you see, it also build a strong relationship, because when that relationship is maintained within colleagues, within the workers in the workplace, you see that nothing will be difficult for them to share, because all these things we are seeing, they are all centered in the area of risk within the workplace. Okay, so because I don't want us to get it too twisted, like, okay, maybe I've not mentioned hazard, I've not mentioned risk. Everything is aimed at reducing risk or hazard or accident within the workplace. Okay, so and also it supports change management, because when you have an effective communication, when there is a change, okay, when there's a change which is inevitable, it must always happen. Change can happen in different form. The management can change, equipment can change, a lot of things can happen. So if those things are changing, what are we doing? Okay, so when we improve on communication, we have an effective communication. So you discover that this area of change management, if we will be able to prevent some certain things that could cause concern or worry among the workers, okay, within the site. Because when there's a change management, nobody is communicating anything to anybody, then it becomes a greater problem. And also it ensures safety and compliance, because when you look at the Health and Safety at Work Act, even when you go through the ISO 45001, every safety requirement or standard all over the world spelt it out, that communication, that information must be provided. And when this information is provided, it needs to be communicated to workers. So we all know this as a professional. So, which means one of the importance is that it ensures safety and compliance, and also it boosts employee morale, because when you really communicate health and safety information to workers, it really boosts their morale. Okay, it can also help in retaining workers. Okay, because if you go to a site where safety information is not communicated to workers, definitely, even the workers, for the fact that most of them are not too educated, they know they know all these things. So their morale will be very down. But when you have a kind of means of communication, you do a kind of monthly bulletin, you do a lot of information that is being circulated to them regarding what are the hazards and risks they are likely to face in the workplace, you discover that they will be very, very happy. This will boost productivity, like I've said earlier, because when the morale is there, okay, when the morale is boosted, productivity will be increased. So it is very important for us to know this importance. So in order for us to encourage our management, in order for them to support us in terms of providing resources to efficiently have an effective health and safety communication within our workplace or the project we find ourselves. And also, I would like to inform us on what are those things that needed to be that needs to be communicated in the workplace. You know, as a safety professional, we know policy, we know how important policies are. Okay, it could be health and safety policy, it could be environmental policy, it could be um, um, policy related to violence. You know, all these things fall under health, occupational health and safety. So there are a lot of policies that could come into it. The other day we discussed about smoking policy. All these things are under part of health and safety. Okay, so these are policies, you know, that we should be able to communicate effectively with the workers. Not that, you know, in most organizations, they just have this document, it's just taught somewhere. You know, in some organizations, when you go to their website, you see it. When you go to their notice board, it is pasted there. Even when the workers join you, these things are communicated in toolbox talks. And not just only health and safety policy, we also have different procedure. You understand? You know, there might be procedure in identifying hazard and risk. This they need to be communicated to them, and also how to also communicate the information about those hazards that are available within the workplace. The workers need to understand these things. Just like, you know, in some side they do a lot of health and safety campaigns. These are ways we communicate this information, this hazard, this risk that are associated with different kind of activity in the site. And when we do this, we are able to tell the workers these are the hazards that are available within the workplace, you know, and how they can be able to avoid being vulnerable to the risk that this hazard is presented. And also through training, we communicate. Okay, so it is very important that most of all this information in terms of procedure, in terms of policy, risk assessment, and all those things, these things should be communicated to the workforce. You know, I did not mention it here, like the risk assessment, method statement, whatever it is, at least every team who are involved in a particular task should be able to have information regarding the method statement. It's not just about engineer drafting method statement sent to client and all that, it ends there. No, the team, the workers who are going to be performing this activity, they need to be familiar with the method statement, because the method statement will guide you on what you are going to do. The risk assessment is going to show you, is going to tell you what are the likely hazards to be identified or that will be found in such activity, and the risks that are involved, and the precautions that are already in place, and those that are being added to ensure that the risk is reduced to a barest minimum. And also reporting of accidents, you know, procedure of reporting accident also. These are kind of information that are being communicated. Okay, safety reminder like use of poster, sign, other visual aid to remind employee of safety procedure, hazard risks, this I've mentioned before, and other health and safety requirements. All these areas, all these things are what we are familiar with, and these are the things that we do communicate, you know, in the workplace. And also safety meetings, they could come in different form, like you have the toolbox talks. So all those things are the things that need to be communicated within the workplace, because in like a toolbox talk, you discover that there are several topics that could be dealt with at that point. So, and as we all know from our basic knowledge, we have verbal communication as in the types of communication method. I will not want to waste time on this so that we don't take much of our time. I believe we all are familiar with this. But for those who are interested in me sharing this presentation slide after this workshop, can indicate or contact Mr. Johnson, and this will be readily available for you guys. So at least so that you can focus on this method and channels of communication. I wouldn't want to spend much time on this place because our time is fast spent. You see, we have the non-verbal communication. There you understand the benefit and the limitation of this non-verbal communication. We also have a written communication, and also we have the visual graphic, which most of us are familiar with, especially when we come to use of signages within the workplace. Then most of the barrier we face is is lack of clarity, because sometimes some information that we communicate, may be inconsistent or unclear. So when this message are unclear, there's a chances of misunderstanding, confusion, and ultimately this will likely to compromise workplace health and safety. So those information we try to communicate should be very, very clear, should be concise, should be well understood, so that we don't face this issue of lack of clarity. Then in terms of language barrier, we know, especially in this part of the world that we have, especially in the Middle East, we know that most of these workers we come across today, some of them are from Bangladesh, some from India, some from Nepal. So you see, we know that most of them, they understand this Hindi. That is why when you go to some sites, you see when information is communicated in English, on the other side, you see it being communicated in maybe translated to Hindi or probably Arabic and all that. So these are how these things work. Okay, so those language barrier could really affect. So it is encouraging that we make this translation whereby these workers can easily understand. Because if we don't consider the language barrier issue, then we are not effectively communicating health and safety. Okay, so and also there's an issue of perception and attitude, So because this perception and attitude has to do with it's a safety culture of thing. Okay, because if we don't look at those perception, what are workers' perception towards health and safety? What are their attitude? So this thing goes a long way because it could bring a kind of resistance to change, management change, and all that. It could lead to apathy or complacency in regarding to safety, and this can also impede other means of communication effort within the workplace. And also technology could be a barrier in the sense that if at this present age, most organizations are still backward in terms of not having sufficient access to technology. You are all predisposed to outdated system. This could limit, safety communication and information dissemination within the workplace. And this is a very big challenge or barrier within the workplace. And we'll look at what else? Sorry, 1 minute. Now, when we just look at the strategy, okay, I believe Mr. Johnson might have made mention of 1 or 2 points. Like I've said earlier, the message need to be clear. When I say the barrier, lack of clarity, it has to be clear. It's already explained. We should try to avoid jargons. We should ensure that the information is easily understandable by all employees. So there must be no discrimination. Everybody, irrespective of their language, should be able to understand. So there were some things I jumped during the method of communication. We have like the non-verbal. It has to do with this communication cue using a kind of sign or body language. Even sometimes then when I used to conduct two-bus talk in some of my past projects, I know sometimes, even for the fact that I'm not too fluent or I'm not fluent in Hindi and all that, sometimes I use my body language, I use my body to describe, to demonstrate certain things, which really, really help me to communicate to the workers. So it's very important on that. I just have to reflect on that. And also, another strategy to improve health and safety communication is through training and education. We need to invest in comprehensive health and safety training program to enhance employee knowledge, awareness, and skills, because it is very, very important, very imperative, because we cannot do without this. If people are not educated, if people are not trained, they will not be aware, this information will not get to them. So it is very important that when we involve in this aspect, we could see that it could be able to improve health and safety communication within the workplace. And also there should be a kind of two-way communication whereby there will be an open and non-punitive environment where employees feel comfortable to report hazard and providing feedback, because it is very, very important. if we don't have that kind of two-way communication system where employee is able to give you a feedback, or or identify things to communicate with you, then there's always a big problem. So that two ways must be there. Not that somebody will just report something to you, then you cannot be able to do anything. So it has to be on a two-way thing, so that they can be encouraged and also boost their morale, like I've said earlier. And also the feedback mechanism, it's very, very important. You understand? Implementing regular feedback mechanism, such as suggestion box, anonymous reporting system, to gather insight from employee is very, very important, because we could see the other time we talk about violence. We could see that some company, they have a kind of barcode whereby some people can just scan to report. See, with the help of technology, there are many ways, we could get feedback from workers, from employee, so it is very important. All these things we know, but we just have to try to see how we can implement all these things within our workplace. And also there are some sites, I will tell you, there are some company, when you go, before you go into the particular site or department where you're going to perform work, maybe like you want to go into a confined space, you discover that there's always a back in some organizations like that. You scan this barcode, it's going to show you the risk assessment of that activity, or probably the procedure which you are going to follow. So this will also guide you. These are another way people communicate if health and safety information is very, very important, because we cannot rule out the use of technology at this present age. Now, in engaging employee in health and safety communication, we have to create a culture that values safety by involving employee in safety committee, conducting safety drills, and recognizing their contribution. Group meetings also is very, very important, because when you hold series of group meetings, it could be two boss, or it could be in so many forms. You discover that people discuss topic, people share best practice, people gather and impute information from their understanding and all that. So this can also help to boost employee morale, as well, as I've said earlier. And also ongoing training or continuous training. It's very, very important to keep employee engaged and informed. And also, when we look at the role of technology, which I've tried to say one or two things earlier, we could discover that we are the level or the age of Internet of Things. A lot of things are being done through the internet. We have mobile apps, we have forms of digital signage. If you go to some process industry, you see, before you go into the lockout, tag out, and maybe you want, there's a device that are used in case you are going into your kind of activity that require Lotto. The moment you get in there, there's this device that will just tell you, it will just display, and tell you what to do to remind you of your Lotto procedure. Okay. And also, there are some like in the factory, you see some when the forklift is moving. Okay. When people or workers are coming in, you see there's always this light. There's this kind of digital light that display that will give you signal that, oh, forklift is coming, or maybe workers is coming, vice versa. So this will pre-inform whoever is involved to know that they need to take caution. So all these things are form of technology that are being developed these days, to be able to help reduce the risk of a lot of hazards that are found in the workplace. And we also have a kind of online platform in real-time information sharing. What we are doing today, you could imagine, in some years past, we cannot do this. Okay? In some years past, where I am now, I might not be able to conduct or give present my slide to this meeting, but with the help of technology, I am here today. We are sharing this information, which is very, very important. Remote training, yeah, same like what we are saying. You can conduct training while you're at home, while you're anywhere in the world, due to technology, instant messaging and communication, the mobile phone and all that, software application, this we could have on our phones. We can use them to report hazard on the spot, as they identify it, within the workplace. And we could see that there are a lot of software that are available for health and safety in terms of risk assessment, in terms of work permit, and so many like that. To mention few, we're talking about barcode for assessing risk assessment. I've said something about this earlier. The artificial intelligence and robotic. In some organization you go today, we see, I know there are a lot of debates regarding this artificial intelligence and robotic issue, because a lot of professionals are being scared that this thing will wipe them away from the industry. Yeah, they have some benefits, and also it also have disadvantage. So what I will employ every one of us as an health and safety practitioner is that we don't just limit our knowledge to health and safety. We need to learn some special skills. Okay. As a safety professional, you know, we still need the knowledge of data analytics or data science and all that. Okay. It's very important because when you want to begin to do presentation, you need to do a lot of things. You need to collect data. You need this special skills. When you have all these things, this will help you, you know, to give you more chance within the industry. There are some people who are delving into cybersecurity. You know, some are cybersecurity risk managers and all that. So a lot of opportunities are open because even if this artificial intelligence is doing a lot of things, robotics are doing a lot of things, you still need, to a certain extent, you still need human to participate in the process. Okay, so definitely you will not just go and bring somebody who studies human resource to be able to do that. So the professionals are still needed. So a lot of opportunities are still there to be explored as a professional so that we begin to move with the trend of what is happening globally. Now, what can we do in terms of, or can we measure effective health and safety communication? You know, we can use incident rates in the workplace to determine, because when you find out that you have high incident rate, then you know that there's a problem with your communication of health and safety within the workplace. Also, we can use another means of employee survey. You know, we can conduct a kind of survey, you know, to get a feedback from employee. We'll be able to understand their perception of health and safety, communication efforts, you know, within the workplace. So we can be able to say, okay, we are doing well, we are not doing well. And also through audit report, you know, when you do a kind of regular review, because if you do your ISO audit, communication is part of those stuff there. So if you are able to fail in that area, then you should know that there's a problem with communication, you know, and you could just decide to audit the communication aspect of it and see how effective it is. I will just say thank you very much for giving me your time. It's been a wonderful day to be with you guys today. Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Johnson, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen, for that wonderful presentation. We appreciate your time and your efforts in giving back to the community. So we appreciate effective communication cannot be overemphasized. Without it, nothing tangible can be achieved in the workplace, especially in communication of health and safety issues. So we should endeavor to improve in our health and safety communication to ensure that we are not misunderstood and to ensure that the point we are trying to make is well tailored down to the appropriate quarters. So thank you once again for that presentation. So we are going to, we are opening the floor for others. If you want to, if anybody want to share slides, you let me know also, so that I'll give you the permission to share slide. If you don't want to share slide, you want to communicate verbally, you can go ahead. So the floor is open right now. Okay, Mr. Sunday, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you and Mr. Stephen. I really appreciate the topic, effective communication. I just want to say just something that is funny. Because when we talk about this communication, I want to remind us that communication actually, when people understand you, they can have confidence in you, like they can trust you. You know, it's just like when I'm not hearing your language, I'm not hearing, like, let me say, for example, I'm a Nigerian, and I'm not hearing Urdu. You're not using the common language, the common understandable language, which is English, because probably I don't know how to speak or the other person doesn't know how to speak. We always have this a little bit kind of fear. I don't know because I can't hear you. I don't know what you are saying. I don't know what you are communicating. Are you saying that it will be wrong, or it is actually going to be wrong with me? So, because this reminds me of 2017, when I joined a company in UAE. I worked there for the past, for just like a month. The project manager called me to his office and said, I was thinking maybe I've committed a blunder. I don't know what I did. I was doing my job diligently. But he told me something. He said, these workers are really complaining. They're complaining? He said, yes. They are complaining. They can't hear you. I said, but I speak loud. I say, no, they can't hear you. They can't understand you. They don't know what you are saying. You just talk, but they don't get you. I said, oh, you mean, because actually I just entered UAE. I don't know how to speak. I don't even understand the common languages that the workers there understand. But you know what I did? I went to my drawing board. I found the best style or the best tactics to communicate with these people. As Mr. Stephen made mention of body language. Yes, I made use of body language a lot to gain confidence. You know, I discovered within that 1 month and 2 months, these guys were not close to me. They don't talk to me. They just see me, they walk away. But when I began to communicate, whichever way that looks so abnormal, even though sometimes if you look at me from afar, you say this guy is crazy. Why is he shaking his body like that? I was just trying to gain these people's confidence, to gain their attention. Do you know that they start liking me? They started talking to me. They said, Safety, you good, are you not good? You good, are you that like this, like that? We started playing, started having good time, because why? They have started hearing me. So what the essence of this, my contribution, is that I want to remind us that communication, effective communication, actually build trust, build confidence. If you don't communicate adequately to workers or people you work with, they fear you. Not because you are bad, not because you are not a good person, or you're not doing the job the right way it should be, but because they don't know what is in your mind, because you're not communicating effectively, you are not using any other channel. You understand? So we always have to find a common ground to communicate. When I came back to Nigeria, we had a very common language we call broken English. See, as an HSC, it's not about speaking English. Why are you communicating? That's why when some people are talking, I say, am I communicating? They want to hear people say yes or no. Are you really communicating? It's not about speaking the whole jargons, the whole English, the whole grammar. Are you communicating? When I came to Nigeria, almost all my TBTs, I did it in broken English in Nigeria. And you see, these workers, each time I finish, 3 of them, 4 of them will come to me and say, Safety, we want to have more of this. Please give us more of this. Why? It's not because I've said this thing over time and over time again, but because of effective communication. It actually built trust, but it actually built friendship. So I want to indulge us. Let's learn how to communicate effectively, just like Mr. Johnson, Mr. Stephen have said. We already know that effective communication is a vital part of HSC. As a HSC person, sometimes they write it in their job description. Somebody that communicates vibrantly, communicate effectively is one of the persons we are looking for. So we as HSC, we need to have this as a skill, develop it as a skill, and learn from people who are already doing it properly, so we can learn, all of us can have it and gain confidence from our fellow workers. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sunday. That was a very powerful contribution. And luckily for us, we have initiated this platform, and we are opening up this platform for everyone to communicate. Learn how to communicate. Even if you have not done it before, there is always a first time. Pick up a topic, chat me up and tell me that this is topic that you want to discuss in social week. And prepare for it, make your research and prepare your slide, and the opportunity is there. The floor is open. And we listen to you, we make our contributions, and from there you will improve. Nobody knows it all, and nobody started as a professional. We all started as amateur until we get to wherever we are at the moment. So that is one of the goals or one of the objectives of this Safeoclock. to improve our communication. Like when you are interacting with your colleagues, when you are interacting with fellow professionals, you know your level. It will help you to understand where you are at the moment. At what level? Are you at the bottom level or at the middle level, or you are at the top level at the moment in communication? So effective communication is not just for the workers, also within ourselves as well. We need to learn how to communicate with people at the same level. Maybe you know how to talk to people below you very well, but what of the people at the same level or people above you? Do you know how to communicate to them effectively and let them buy into the idea you have? That is where effective communication comes into play. If you are able to convince your director to buy into a particular safety program, even against his initial will, then there is an atom of effective communication in every strategy that you employed. So this platform is open for us to enhance our communication skills, enhance our collaboration and our interactive skills. Don't just come here and listen to me. I'm not that perfect, or listen to Stephen alone. So use this as a tool to build your own communication strategies and communication skills. So that is what I just want to add there, just like others have said. Though our time is spent, but I will give room, let's give room for a few others to contribute before, so that people don't go back with what they have in their mind. The floor is open. You can just unmute and start up.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Mr. Francis.
Yeah, I think today the topic, effective communication, just as you and Mr. Stephen and Sunday have said, we all know is a vital aspect of our profession, because I think we've said all the point, but the most bad, or the bad side of it as a professional, if your communication, or you are facing a barrier of effective communication, how you can translate effectively your communication in every level of your work, it will create a big limitation to your profession. Because one, you will look like someone who is stuck in a particular place. Because at every point in time, you know to yourself that my communication is not effective. How am I going to get out of here? How am I going to maybe translate even when I go to other places, even during your interviews? Because I know when you are doing some interview with some managers, they know what they are looking out for, especially when you are going for some sensitive position. And as a safety professional like this, so we must learn how to build our communication strategy to ensure we learn how to pass this communication effectively to our team member or teams we supervise. Yes, I know even in the Middle East, that is where I come across this process where because most of them are Hindi, and they speak Hindi and different languages, Arabic. When you prepare signages, because the English aspect of it becomes a very big challenge. Even when you speak, some will hear, but some they don't hear. Yes. And we're in the site, so there are so many ways you have to translate. Also, because they don't hear English, there should be room for translation so that your message can be passed. Because when we say effective, it's a matter of Mr. A giving an information to Mr. B, and Mr. B get the information clearly. And this information, on the long run, why we said effective in the construction industry, just as Mr. Stevie said, is to avoid and reduce incident, because that is the basic of the first goal of this. Because if they don't hear and you are passing on information, then automatically is a waste. So you do you create every possible venue to ensure that they understand. Is it through signages? Is it through translation? Is it through any means that this the labels, we understand that this is the new information from management and this is how they should manage it, for them to have a clear purpose of such information. So, like today's topic is a very vital and it's a wider one. We've touched, you guys have really done justice to it. Just as you said, Mr. Johnson, yes, like some of us, honestly, I must tell you, it's not easy with us, we in the construction industry here in Saudi. And I know if you are a site man, you know what it means when you go to office from morning to evening. Sometimes, in fact, as I do yourself on my back, they pay me self. Sometimes I will just be in my office. I'll be thinking of, man, I need to go home. But you can't go like that. So it's not really easy. And we pray that once there is a little freedom, we will come and start to share presentation. To share presentation is a simple thing. So, but let's just be a little bit patient on some of us. We come and share some presentation, good one as well. So I want to say thanks to every one of you for this beautiful platform where we are refreshing our memory, learning new things as well, because sometimes when you have read some of these for a long time, you tend to forget. But with this every Thursday reflection, it becomes an attitude of at least what I've learned again now, I can't forget again for the next maybe 2 to 3 years. So it's a very good one. So I want to say thanks to every one of you. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Francis, for your wonderful contribution. Mr. David, your hand is up. Go ahead.
The man never sleep.
No, the man never sleep. I just have to be battling with my kids. Sorry, they are causing a lot of distraction. Yeah. However, I would want to, just as an addendum to what Mr. Francis already said, I would really want to commend Francis. You made a very big point, which is always very challenging for most of us who are actually working in the construction, right? It's very, very demanding, and mentally, physically, psychologically, you are stressed, you are drained on daily basis, not just one. With that being said, what I would like to ship in for the topic is, I just want to ship in this, because I think you guys have, all the speakers have touched on the critical indicators or parameters of effective communication in health and safety. Just in my place of work, you know, majorly in the Middle East, GCC country, we have these, for us to be able to communicate effectively, we have these bilingual language challenges, you know, people coming from diverse background, ethnicity, and coming to work together in one place. So most times, the country where we are working, they may have a common language, which all their various tribes, they understand or they speak. So we must always have this at the back of our minds, you know, to ensure that whenever we are posting any safety, putting out any safety flash, alert, banners, you know, any information out there to pass a communication on health and safety in the workplace, it must represent it in bilingual, as in not just writing it only English, but you must also translate it to the language, the common language that is speak in that particular country, you know. So you are putting it, so like in my workplace, if we are, for instance, drafting something on safety bulletin or safety alert, or on a safety topic, pet topic, we want to be cascaded or socialized with all the workers. it must be translated. First, we will do the English version, then it will be translated by someone, maybe they're indigenous or wherever, to their language. So both is being transmitted, both is being released, it's being pasted everywhere, it's being communicated. So that's one sure way. We don't miss that. So we've also extended this even down to the method statements. So in our method statements and job safety analysis, it's not just only with English, but you can at the top type English. Underneath, we will translate that English word in their language. Like here, for example, they call the language Bahasa. They speak Bahasa. It's the common language they speak. So anything I'm putting in English, I will translate. So if I don't give to a local person from this place to translate, I can also utilize the Google Translator to do so. So this is not even the first place in Indonesia that we communicate bilingual, but also at Iraq. All right. Also at Iraq, where we use Arabic. So if we also write in English, we put in Arabic. This also applies to the safety signages, all safety signages. So if you are typing English at the top, you have to translate it, with their local dialect, their local language there. It's very, very important, no matter what, for all signages that applies, just to ensure that effective communication has taken place. Everyone would understand it. Then for JSA and method statement, we do so because if you maybe, for example, you prepare a method statement and it's only being prepared in English, you will still discover that the supervisors, the frontline supervisors inside, some of them are still unable to read and understand, interpret the information, the message there. And by so doing, you see that most of the safety control measures, are not being followed. The safety protocols are breached, they are broken. And when you investigate, you discover that even the supervisor, they are struggling to even read the method statement, to read the job safety analysis. Because why? It's only written in English, which they could not understand. Some of them, their educational, during their educational studies or background, they are being tutored in their local language and not in English. Majority of them, English, I think, is their second language, not first language. So they struggle with it. So it's something that we applied that has really helped, in some of the places I've worked. So when we notice there's a common language, we don't just focus only on English. We put English and we translate, we interpret. Then secondly, another thing we've used to ensure that effective communication is passed across. These I'm applying in my current place of work, and of course in my previous place of work, also I did use the same format. So whenever I'm to give public speaking, on any safety topic or pass an information across, I will have a translator, maybe a safety guy who is from that community, who is from that place, or maybe from the country. So as I speak, it translates. Whatever I say, it translates. So all these are done on daily basis. Whether I'm in the meeting, I have my translator who will interpret for me whenever I'm giving my safety talk, or presentation. So, and I think in my previous company, during my interview, I think they asked me this question like, oh, you speak English, and of course you are coming to work with a large number of Chinese, workers. So how are you going to ensure that, how are you going to ensure that these Chinese will be able to understand you whenever you are speaking? How are you going to communicate to them? So I didn't just, I just said, okay, well, definitely I must request for a translator, an interpreter, somebody who is going to help me, to interpret whatever it is I'm saying, that can translate English to Chinese and Chinese to English for me, just to ensure that effective communication, has taken place, or communication has taken place. The coder and decoder, there's a transmission of communication. So that is one other two ways, method that been able to ensure effective communication in the workplace. Then also currently in my workplace, just like Mr. Sonny has, Mr. Safeoclock, let me use the word Safeoclock, not call his name, did in the presentation, all the means of effective communication. He has highlighted all of them. But one of the two we also use in my current place of work that help a lot on daily basis, we do launch new safety topics. All right. And we always present this like a flyer. So it's drafted in English, we translate to their local language. So we have 2 pages on daily basis. This is released like a flyer and it goes out. We also on weekly basis prepare banners related to relevant critical safety activities or work activities on the site. So, and this banner, of course, is being displayed everywhere, very big banner, and very visible. So it's displayed on strategic places of the site, prominent places of the site. And also, safety alerts, our safety alerts are always released every week. And this is also displayed, conspicuously at relevant places in the site. And we usually have daily coordination meetings, daily SIMOPS meetings, right? Just to make sure that all safety issues are being communicated to the relevant parties, especially from the leader level supervisor who are directly involved on the job. We are communicating every safety challenges we have. So, for example, as the safety lead managing a particular session or wing of construction, I make sure that whatever are my observations for today, so in the meeting tomorrow, I will definitely cascade it, socialize it with all the supervisor, so that they can improve in those areas, despite the fact that I've intervened to close them out, but I will again communicate it to them. And a translator is always there to say whatever it is I've said and get feedback for them. And one medium we also use to ensure that means of effective communication is through our WhatsApp. The WhatsApp is a very powerful tool. Like if I'm in the site, just to bridge that communication barrier also, once I snap a picture and I send to a particular safety personnel, once they see the picture, they already understand what is missing. And even when I'm sending the picture, I don't just send only the pictures, but I also put a description of what is wrong. So it's easy for them to just copy what I've written in English. They will put it in a Google translator and it will translate to their dialects, to their language, and they in turn can understand what I'm saying. And whatever action they take, if they want to revert back, they will type their language, convert in English, and send to me. So the WhatsApp is another tool, a platform that harnessed to ensure that flow of effective communication is taking place. Overall, we cannot overestimate the fact that everyone has to, we are all improving ourselves in terms of our public speaking, our communication, because it's one of the most important soft skills for every HSC practitioner to have, because the least in a day you have to give safety toolbox talk, So if you are the type who is very shy in front of workers or something who cannot speak, then I don't think health and safety is a profession for such a person. So we must try as much as possible to build up our communication skills. And another thing to ensure effective communication has taken place is whenever we are to deliver a speech, we first of all need to identify our audience. You need to know your audience, and that will help a lot for you to know what content. You know, what am I going to say, you know, that will capture the mind of these people? Like, for example, yesterday, I think there was an incident in one of our construction sites. So the management sat down together to brainstorm just as a mitigation, you know, an improvement plan. So they came up with an improvement plan, and they saddle a responsibility to the supervisors, you know, to do a mass toolbox talk. In this mass toolbox talk, they should be the one to drive the safety message and not we, the safety leaders, you know, to do so. So when they gave them the opportunity, they went there, they were just saying something, you know, something different. And for me, I was there. I was saying to myself that, well, it's not my business. I do talk every day, but of course, today I leave it to the construction supervisor. I'm not going to say anything. But when I realized that what these guys are saying is not going to in any way help, you know, to prevent the trend that is ongoing, because they are not addressing the root cause. I just had to just say, no, okay, let me talk. Let me just give a brief talk. Then I had to go there and remind every worker that, of course, we are in the festive season, right? So there will be this haste rush by everyone, because we can't wait to take that break to go home to our loved ones, to our family, right? And because of this haste, this can lead to, because it's one of the common causes of accidents in a construction site like ours. So I explain all of these things, and I make them to see the importance, why the whole part of their body needs to be complete for them to go back home, you know, to be in good health and to celebrate this festive season with their loved ones, you know. I realized that when I was making out this point, I saw the reaction, you know, from the workforce. Everyone was so excited. It's like, this guy is the one, you know, saying the important thing. We need to keep ourselves safe and all of that. So, and I felt that sense of fulfillment. You know, I was excited, like, okay, I've been able to deliver and pass across the right message, and that will hopefully help to prevent, you know, incident. Everyone will work with caution. Everyone will be more focused. Everyone will take extra care, and everyone will not only be concerned about their safety, their personal safety, but they will look out for those working around them, irrespective of the company where they work. So this is my only two contribution to the topic. Thank you very much to the coordinator. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Sir David. We appreciate your sharing the experience and your intellectual capacity with us. So we appreciate and thank everyone who has joined today. Our time is fast.
Johnson, can I speak something?
Who is that? Tayab?
Yeah, this is Samir here.
Okay, Samir. Okay, go ahead. 3 minutes, okay?
Yeah, this is really, I appreciate this topic. This topic is very wonderful. And thanks for Safeoclock that they are going to perform this webinar to understand, as Mr. Francis, as you know that Francis is our coordinator and we are working together. So once again, I would like to thank Mr. Francis as well as Safeoclock to give this platform to share our experience, to gain some knowledge over here. So regarding this topic today, like effective communication in the workplace is not just relaying information to the team member, but explaining in the way to understand. So our main goal is that the workforce where we are working, how they understand our language, which language they are prepared. So if they are understanding English, so we can explain the things, whatever the things we are going to explain in Hindi, that they understand very well. And the person who are belongs to other countries like India, Bangladesh, and other countries who are very well to understand in Hindi. So we will communicate with the toolbox talk or any campaign or any HSE bulletin that we are cascading in our yard. We are discussing in the different language. Like we have three language or four language we are discussing in our toolbox talk, in our HSE campaigns, which we are doing at our yard, and some HSE bulletin, some notification is coming from our corporate or some from client. So we are posted at our site as a banner, as a notification to the notice board to aware everyone that's what HSC incentive is ongoing. So these things also we are doing on in our yard, and we are discussing this toolbox talk and campaign in a different language like English, Hindi, Arabic, and as well as Bengali. So this is good things that we take initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samia. We appreciate your contribution. Thank you guys for today. We've spent most of our time, so we'll continue again next week so that we'll not keep everybody for long. So thank you guys. See you again next week, Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sammy. Thank you, Genia Tayeb. Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Pascal, thank you for joining.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and
Thank you so much.
have a blessed day.